Hey everybody, it's Ron Johnson, and this is Locked On Sports Minnesota, and it's Friday. No, I don't have a good song for you guys. I'm not feeling it. Like for those watching on YouTube, thank you guys for watching. That explains the shirt. So if you're on YouTube, you can see the shirt. I think it's Lilo and Stitch. I don't even know if I've ever seen that. But I tried. So that's the theme for the day, people. We tried. And we were talking about the Minnesota Vikings.
The creature on Ron, I just got to say it. The creature on Ron's shirt is now running across Julia's screen. I don't know what I'm seeing right now.
The cat heard Lilo and Stitch and just said, okay, I want to be involved in this. Let me get in.
Yes.
But I'm Ron Johnson again. That's Sam Extra, my producer. We got Reggie Wilson joining us from Care 11. You know, if you guys have watched Care 11 all through the Olympics and just period, Reggie's all over it. And then we got Julia Daniels, with the kitty cat. So if you're not watching on YouTube, you're missing out right now on cat antics. Trust me. The cat is now a main character. You guys are missing out, but that's Julia Daniels as well, joining us from Care 11. Again, this is the Friday Roundtable. And on the Friday Roundtable, people, for those that are new to the Friday Roundtable, we discuss a bevy of topics, a plethora of ideas, and we just throw them around the horn, and then we come back and we decide on, do we need to keep going on this? Or can we move on to the next topic? We got 4 great topics for you today. There's a lot of things going on in sports. There's a lot of petty things going on in sports. And I'm going to a Lynx game, so I'll bring that up later as we talk about this. I'm going to the Lynx game on Friday next week. So I'm looking forward to this one because the Aces are coming to town, and I'm wondering if Bam out of Bayou is going to be in Minnesota. But we'll talk about that because that's a petty thing from the Olympics. But again, I'm Ron Johnson. That's Sam Extra. That's Reggie Wilson, Julia Daniels. Please make sure you guys subscribe on Locked On Sports Minnesota on YouTube. But with no further ado, we got to get locked in on these topics today. What you got for us, Sam?
Well, we're going to have plenty of Vikings talk, I promise. But a little later in the show, I'm gonna dive in deeply to this Timberwolves schedule. We got dates and times for all 82 and a lot of national TV exposure.
I'm ready for it, Sam. I'm ready. But we're also going to talk about the Twins and the Lynx. Who has the inside track the most to get to the title?
Oh, that's an easy one.
And what does this JJ McCarthy injury news mean for him in his sophomore season with the Vikings? We'll talk about it.
It's a freshman season again for him. He's going to be a redshirt freshman. Let's not even give him a sophomore year. And I'm Ron Johnson. And, of course, we have to talk about the Vikings-Browns. That's kind of one of the big topics right now. The Browns week. We're going to talk about that a little bit, but also Browns game. We're going to make some bold predictions in this game. We're probably going to see Sam Darnold. We might even see Jaron Hall now, but there's a rising star receiver. I saw Justin Jefferson bring it up. I talked to another coach. I talked to Keenan McCardell. There's a rising star that I think we forgot about that now wide receiver 4 may not be as locked up as we thought it was. But we'll talk about all that and much more coming up next on the Roundtable. But I want everybody to know today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Just download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase, and terms apply. And trust me, people, I wouldn't tell you anything that I haven't done. I used it. I didn't get the $20 off, but because I didn't use Locked On the first time, because this was a long time ago, maybe 3 years ago. And so now I'm going to try to use it and see if I'll still get it. But make sure you use the code Locked On. The reason why, people, that 49ers game, there are going to be some people that just don't want to go. Why? Because they're sad. They don't think JJ McCarthy's ever going to come back. And so they're going to want to sell their tickets. And the Gametime app is a secure, safe, and great way to transfer tickets from one person to the next without all the fees and the lies about where you're sitting. Well, now it's time to jump into the show. So, Julia, with no further ado, take it away.
Obviously, the horrible news, JJ McCarthy is out for the season. He had a full meniscus repair surgery on Wednesday, so he is out for the season. We won't see any of him. So the question posed is he still the week 1 starter in 2025? And you know what's interesting? People have asked this question a lot in the past few days. Our assistant news director, Nelson Garcia, came into the sports office yesterday afternoon, and he said, so even if Sam Darnold takes the Vikings to the Super Bowl and wins the Super Bowl with the Vikings this year, is JJ McCarthy still the starter? And Ryan, we all looked and we said, yes, JJ's still the starter. And Ryan said, yeah, all that happens is Sam Darnold just goes and gets a fat paycheck from some other team. And then JJ McCarthy starts and he's even better than Sam Darnold is. Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously he doesn't get the valuable reps that he would get would he be healthy right now at practice and things like that. But he's still going to be in the building. He's still going to be learning this system. He's still going to be working with Kevin O'Connell and Josh McCown, learning this offense, doing all of that. I think he's definitely still a lock for the 2025 Week 1 start because they are invested in him as their franchise quarterback. Kevin O'Connell did not, and I said this on one of our shows this week. Sorry, my cat is just running around everywhere. I said Kevin O'Connell's not digging a hole and burying himself in it right now. He is very optimistic about the situation. He talked about how several quarterbacks have been through similar situations. JJ McCarthy is only 21 years old. He's so young to even be in the position that he's in. It's not going to be detrimental, I don't think, to his career to miss this season. He's still learning everything. Now, it would be worse if it was next year, right? Or it would be worse, I feel like, if it was Sam Darnold that had gotten hurt. But yeah, I think he's still a lock for the Week 1 start next year. I think that, yeah, it's an unlucky thing. You wish that he could get those reps in practice and work with. I think that they would have him doing some reps with the ones during this season at practice at least. But I think it's all going to be okay. I think he's still going to be the Week 1 starter in 2025. And I think maybe, and this is what I was talking to our news director, Stacey, about. I've had a lot of conversations with athletes about what they learn during a season when they have to be sidelined the whole time due to injury. And I talked to a lot of like prep football players about this, because obviously I never played football, about what it was like and what they learned. And it gives them a little bit of a different perspective on how everything works, because that's the only thing that they can focus on is what they're seeing with their eyes at that point. And so it's not ideal, but there are some, sorry guys, but he's still going to be learning. He's still going to be going through the motions that he can't go through at this time. So,
well, this is where I was going to go with this too. I definitely understand where you're going with it. I can't wait till when I go, because I got some stuff. I got some Mike Zimmer stuff that I'm going to use in this one, because I remember what Mike Zimmer said, because he had a similar situation with Case Keenum, and then they bought in Kirk Cousins, and so I do want to talk about that. But Sam, Julia kind of broke it down. I mean, she is kind of right. Like, JJ, you drafted him. The thought was 1 year of Sam Darnold. That's what we all were praying for. 1 year of Sam Darnold. Be like Jordan Love. Be like Aaron Rodgers. Be like Patrick Mahomes. And now I don't know what you're being like. Well, you said Joe Burrow. So you gave him Joe Burrow. What are your thoughts on this 2025 starter? So that's one. Yeah. Julia says yes. So we have one for the starter for 2025.
So Julia, what Julia said is that Sam Darnold could reach the Super Bowl and still not get an invitation back next year. So what she believes is that there's no threshold that Sam Darnold could attain to be the quarterback next year. And I think that's probably correct in most cases. Super Bowl might change the equation. I know Kwesi likes to talk. He uses the phrase Bayesian logic, where you're always changing your decision-making based on the events that happen. And that would be an event that I think would change his mind, and it might force the Vikings' hand. Now, the problem is, like Julia laid out, is that if he wins the Super Bowl, then he's going to demand unbelievable money. And when you're sitting on a rookie quarterback, you might not want to pay that. So I think J.J. McCarthy is certainly the favorite. I don't expect Sam Darnold to lead them on a heroic Super Bowl run. And shy of that, I think it actually is a fairly easy decision. You will, though, need to bring in some insurance. You'll need to bring in a stopgap, a Nick Mullins type, a Sam Darnold type, somebody that can comfortably sit behind J.J. McCarthy and provide you a little bit of backup, because you won't have Nick Mullins under contract. You won't have Sam Darnold under contract next year. I don't think they can just give him the only key. I think that there needs to be someone else in the building. But I think that if we're putting percentages on it, 75%, it's JJ McCarthy.
Wow. Okay, Reggie.
Yeah, I think McCarthy gets to start in 2025 no matter what. I just can't see a Super Bowl run in Sam Darnold. That would be incredible for us to cover. That'd be cool. I've never been to a Super Bowl before, so I'd like to see it. But there are so many other things that have to go right for the team to get there, and quarterback is just one of those things. And so I just see it, especially with Kevin O'Connell all of his comments this week, no matter if it's talking to us, the local media, or talking to national media, he has been so complimentary of JJ McCarthy, saying this week, like, there's no question in his mind that JJ McCarthy is the young franchise quarterback for this team moving forward. And he said fans should be excited about that. And so that's as plain as it can get as far as his endorsement and his confidence level in JJ McCarthy's ability to start and be the long-term starter for this team moving forward. So I think, he does have a lot of confidence in Sam Darnold. It's interesting because, I was kind of going back and forth with one of my guys this week. I just think that it is tough because, yes, I didn't necessarily play the sport, but I do understand, and having talked to some athletes in the past, that the best way to get better at football is by playing football. And I do understand that, you'll get a lot of mental reps and, you'll be in the building, be around the guys, you'll still be learning. But, it's the application of the things that you're learning that is going to be delayed because you have a physical ailment. And so I just wonder, what type of growth, McCarthy is going to have, being that he can't get on the field to do some of those things that he is seeing with his eyes. And so that part is tough. I do think that it does kind of force the Vikings to ride with Darnold no matter what. If it is just a situation where he is thinking up the place, I guess, you still do have Nick Mullins back there, and he showed that he can play capably, even though, his tape from the last couple games of the season did leave a lot to be desired, especially in terms of turnovers. But, he is capable. And so it's not necessarily ideal because I think if you look at Sam Darnold struggling at some point, then you have the fans calling for JJ McCarthy to get the start moving forward. And now you're starting the process toward the future. But now you can't do that because he won't be available. So I do understand that things are going to take an interesting turn this year, but I just wonder what it's going to look like since JJ is not going to be available.
Well, I hear everybody kind of saying 75%. Julius 100% he's in. Here's why I'm landing right now, and I'm maybe it's the shirt. I don't know what it is, but I just don't feel like he's the starter in 2025, like outright week one. One, it's going to take him 9 months potentially to come back. 6 to 9 months is what the recovery time is for full repair. It is what's best for him because long term that allows him to come back and be fully ready to go. But if he doesn't show up OTAs ready to throw, if he doesn't show up, we're looking at guys with Achilles injuries who are coming back now in less than a year. So if he's not ready to fully go and be able to be the athletic quarterback he is, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. So if you think about Case Keenum taking him to the NFC Championship game and then they're like, let's go with Kirk Cousins. Like, did they get anything different out of it besides spending a ton of freaking money? They didn't. Case Keenum took them just where Kirk Cousins took them. So why keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result? If Sam Darnold gets you there to the Super Bowl, and this is that I'm going off Julia's questions first from her newsroom. If he gets you to the Super Bowl, you'd be an idiot not to bring him back for another year to just see what you got, because there's no guarantee that JJ McCarthy will get you anywhere close to the Super Bowl. There's no guarantee to get back to the Super Bowl unless you have Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady. And the fact to think that it's that easy, the fans will absolutely murder you if you just go with JJ McCarthy and the season doesn't go the way it went the year before with Sam Darnold taking you to the Super Bowl. So Sam Darnold literally.
But Ron, what if? Okay, so he wins the Super Bowl,
the money. Yep.
But it's not bringing back for 1 year.
Correct.
It's bringing back for 3 or 4. So
that's the thing is, and so you would have to kind of play the game. If you lose them, you lose them. But I don't say let them walk out. Like, here's what you say. Hey, I give you 2 years. Here's what we can offer you. Because even if you give him 2 years and then JJ McCarthy is ready to go and you bench him because it's not going the way you thought it was going to go, at least you did your due diligence to say, all right, he got the Super Bowl. He's going to be now our leader, backup guy. Maybe his options out there with other teams are still, look at Case Keenum. He took the Vikings to the NFC Championship game and never did anything else since. So again, there is a little bit to that. Like, nobody else really believed in Case Keenum either. But Sam Darnold was the 3rd overall pick. And so there's a little bit difference to it. Is did Kevin O'Connell just unlock something in Sam Darnold that nobody else knew he had? Like if he goes out and throws for 4,000 yards, you got to be like, oh my God, like JJ goes for 2,000 under Sam Darnold. Like you got to kind of think about it. But drafting a guy that high, doing all the things you did to get him, I understand that the want and the urgency to get him out there. I just would be a little bit nervous about sitting on his tail for 6 months, or well, I think it's 3 months, and then rehabbing. And then, like Reggie said, you're not in the building, you're not learning, you're not throwing, you're not actually taking live bullets. And then you're going to come out and do some OTAs, mini camp, and now you're a week 1 starter. I'd be a little bit skeptical. And like thinking about who's going to still be here as well. But I get it. The money is going to be the big thing. But again, if Sam Darnold, here's another way to look at it. If Sam Darnold goes 11 games and takes them to the playoffs, is that enough too to maybe want to give him another year? I think a playoff run at 11 games is less high money value than a Super Bowl or NFC Championship like Case Keenum. You get him to the playoffs, maybe you lose in the wild card. I'd say you bring Sam Darnold back for a year. JJ McCarthy sits and actually actively sits and throws and learns and plays. Because again, how long did Jordan Love sit? 3 years?
Yes, 3 years.
And look at him. Everybody's saying he's number 1 in the NFC now. Like, and again, I know that everybody has a job to do with the media and they just throw crap out there. They love to, because they know it's going to get tweets and all that. But Jan Orlovsky has him in like his top 5 already. He had him as like number 1. He's the number 1 quarterback in the NFC. Like, what are we doing? This dude hasn't really done much besides 1 season. But the fact that he sat, the fact that his throws look like Aaron Rodgers, I'd say if Sam Darnold's cooking, let JJ be a sous chef and sit back, learn, and then come in the next year. But I'm just not sold on throwing him out there week 1 after sitting out an entire year and not having any NFL experience. If he had like set out like Kirk, I get it. But you're and Joe Burrow played and then got hurt and then sat. Like you're coming off of college. Like college. I feel like Allen Iverson. Playoffs? We're talking about practice? Like, come on. But no, so
you
I'm
just
not
mixed
sold on it.
two.
I did the playoffs and I did the practice.
I also just think
Jim
it's like
Mora.
a testament to the coaching staff. If Sam Darnold goes out there and he's successful, it's a
Correct.
testament to Kevin O'Connell, Josh McCown, and Grant Udinski at that point. And then what do they do with someone like JJ McCarthy, who's shown so much? It's all up in the air.
Correct. And I agree. And that's why I said I think if he does this, he unlocked Kirk Cousins. He turned Josh Jacobs into a superstar. He made Nick Mullins a guy that people wanted to watch for a little bit. Everybody thought Jaron Hall after 4 plays in concussion was the guy. And now look, he's going to maybe do this with Sam Darnold. I'd say crown him. Crown him. He was who we thought he was. Crown him. That's another one. That's another quote.
Denny Green, rest in peace.
I didn't know if Julia knew that one. I don't think she did.
I've heard it.
She's the Bama. But yeah, so now it's time to move on. We hit enough of this JJ McCarthy. So in the end, people, just to give you a little recap, Julia said he's the week 1 starter. I think Reggie said 75%. Sam, where were you at? 50?
I said 75%.
You said 75. What did Reggie say? Right away?
100.
100%. And I'm on the fence. I'm more like 50.
I respect the take, Ron. I respect it. I just think the contract gets messy.
And he went to Michigan. I'm not now the fact that he's not going to play this year, now I don't have to hide my bias. Like he didn't go to Minnesota, man. Screw you, dude. Like you ain't got it. No,
wow. Shots
I don't have
fired.
I don't have to hide my bias anymore.
Wow.
But now it's time to move on.
Vikings have to, I think when they get this top 10 pick after this year, they can get that cornerback from Michigan to bring him in for
that's my guy.
On the defense.
His dad went to my high school too. He went to my that's my guy, Will Johnson. That's my guy. His dad is older than me, but he came back to our games and helped us out when we were high school. His dad played at Michigan. His dad was a pro as well. So yeah, Will Johnson might be a top 5 pick at cornerback. He's putting on the buffs. Him and Darius Taylor know each other. So it's a lot of good stuff. And I hope my cousin's a safety. He's coming out. He's a 5th year senior. He's one of the top safeties in the Big Ten. Maybe when Harrison Smith walks away, they'll draft Makari Page as well. So why don't you just bring a bunch of Wolverines here? Like I'd be happy with that. My cousin comes, then I got access. I got all the access we need, people. But it's time to move on. It's time to move on to the Vikings Browns. We're going to talk about it. I'm going to bring the shirt into play now because the Browns week is coming up. But we're going to talk about bold predictions of this game. And we are going to have a postcast after the Browns game as well. Hopefully everybody walks away healthy. But we'll do that after a word from our sponsors.
We are brought to you today by Gametime. It's the authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball. It makes getting tickets so fast, so easy. Those prices going down the closer you get to first pitch. And it's not just for baseball. It's also for WNBA. It's for Vikings regular season games. There were great deals to get in the preseason game last Saturday. There are so many cool features on the app. Those last-minute deals help you save up to 60% on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Zone deals, you choose the section. Gametime chooses the seats. Make sure to toggle on the all-in pricing so there's no hidden fees for you. Get panoramic views from your seat. Lowest price guarantee. Gametime has it all. You can go to the Twins Cardinals game. Reggie's Cardinals coming to town for $27. You can get in the building on a beautiful August night. Why wouldn't you? You can go see the next Lynx game on August 23rd. Same night across the street, $39. You could have a double header, toggle back and forth between the two venues. $39 to go see the Lynx next Friday. Minnesota United FC, $52 next Saturday. Great deals at Gametime. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets, whether it's MLB or otherwise. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code Locked On for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Well, it's time to talk about this Vikings-Browns game. I'm going to kick it off with this. Vikings are playing the Browns. Hopefully everybody's healthy. This is the thing. I know Kevin O'Connell, we saw the presser yesterday. I don't know if everybody watched it, but his presser yesterday, he talked about all the injuries, gave the updates there. Thomas had a concussion. He's in the protocol. Jordan Addison was carted off with the ankle. Sounds like he should be back by week 1, but he pretty much is done for the preseason, it sounds like. This would be a great, I'm not going to even go there. It'd be a great time to just let him rest anyway with his other issues and maybe sit for 3 games. But Justin Jefferson's fine. But Tristan Jackson is becoming a household name. The fact that Jordan Addison went down, you got Tristan Jackson now. You got Speedy. He's still up there. Naylor doing great things. And then also you got Brandon Powell, who I feel like, and this is just me, maybe I'm overreacting, I feel like Brandon Powell is getting pushed to wide receiver 5. I'm going to pay off the tees early. I think Tristan Jackson, 100-yard game. Sam brought that up last week, and I think on my show, 100-yard game. When's the last time we've seen that from a receiver in the preseason? Partly because J.J. McCarthy was killing it as well, which is sad to see him go. And then you look at all the plays in practice that he's been making. You hear Kevin O'Connell talk about him. You hear Keenan McCardell talk about him. Justin Jefferson sung his praises about how he's a hooper. And, hoopers just know how to, move at the line. And then they know how to move in that secondary route. And he has that. He's not as fast. He's not as shifty, but he uses his body to make plays. And so I think so my bold prediction is I think we're going to see another 100-yard game from Tristan Jackson. I think Tristan Jackson is about to have another big game this week. One, he's going to get a lot of playing time with Addison being out now. So right away, I think he's going to be up in the starters with Jalen Naylor and him are going to be the first 2 on the field. I think Brandon Powell comes in as a slot receiver 2 or 3. Sorry, maybe Brandon Powell starts just because he's like, well, he's been here and on our depth chart. We kind of have him up there. But I think Keenan McCardell is like, man, I got to see what I got in this actual Tristan Jackson guy. So that's my bro prediction. I'm going to say Tristan Jackson goes for another 100 yards. What you got, Sam?
Yeah, and just jumping off of that, there is a legitimate possibility that there's a stretch this season where the Vikings' top pass catchers are Jefferson, Naylor, Tristan Jackson, and Robert Tonyan as like a starting tight end. Like that actually could happen this year because of suspensions, injuries, whatever. That would be just crazy because we got so used to Thielen and Hawkinson, Addison, Jefferson, those big names. A lot of turnover there. My bold prediction is that within 48 hours of this game, the Vikings will be forced to give Stephon Gilmore what he wants and bring him in to the building because they're going to get another good look at their cornerback depth. I don't know if it held up super well early in that Raiders game. They gave up pretty quick points to Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell, and the Raiders are not super talent rich. I don't know who's going to play against the Browns and who's not going to play, but I suspect that we're going to see some Caleb Evans, probably some Fabian Moreau. We're probably going to get a good look at the immediate depth at cornerback. If it doesn't go well, I think that you have to pull the trigger on Gilmore. So my prediction is something will happen in this game, whether it's struggles, injury, that it'll force their hand to give Gilmore his $6 million, $7 million, $8 million for 1 year to get him in the building and make sure they have a veteran entrenched, because it's a bleak situation right now.
Reggie.
So I was watching the Eagles Patriots last night, and I saw something, and it got me thinking. What if we saw a kickoff return for a touchdown in this game? You know, this new kickoff format, you know, it's kind of weird. It's kind of cool, but it hasn't been all that successful, where there was a guy yesterday who broke one for the Patriots. He didn't get all the way to the end zone, but he did break one for a pretty big gain. And I had yet to see someone really kind of break through that first line of barrier. So I think, you know, it would be interesting to see one of the players who are returning kicks take one all the way to the house. So that is my bold prediction. And also to your point, Ron, I do think it's interesting with Tristan Jackson. Like, he has been just kind of growing and flashing and growing over the last, 2 training camps, and just kind of sticking around. And obviously they like what he brings to the table. And so I do think it's interesting that he has been getting a lot of volume in the training camp and preseason so far. So I'm interested to see, you know, what that means headed into week 1 for him.
I 100% agree with the Tristan Jackson hype. It also helps that who is his very best friend in the whole world? Justin Jefferson. He sees his very best friend in the whole world make all this money. That's got to be pretty motivating, right? I mean, I think he's motivated as it is, but that's just the cherry on top. You spend a lot of your free time with the best receiver in the league. It's probably pretty helpful for your growth as a receiver also in the league. Yeah, I like the faith that people have in Tristan Jackson. I think this last preseason game was the highlight of his career so far. And I feel like, should he stay healthy, it's only up from there. My bold prediction for this game, I'm just still banking on Johnny Munt getting in a fight with somebody. I just like the personality we've seen this year. I just would love to see something like that. My bold prediction, as far as like points go, you know, we're talking about the cornerbacks. I would love to be pleasantly surprised by like Nudie having some kind of interception or something like that in a game. Or Caleb Evans, I feel like, didn't have a terrible game. I think he's looked pretty decent at training camp this year. He's had 1 or 2 interceptions so far. So I would like to be pleasantly surprised by the cornerback group. I do agree that Sam, you're right in saying that they do have to take a look at Stephon Gilmore if things don't pleasantly surprise us. So
I think they got to do that regardless. Like, bring the dude in. They got the cap space. Just bring him in.
Yeah. Because what do they
I
have?
think he's like, how many days can I stall and miss these hot practices before I can,
Don't blame him.
Still come in and still understand the playbook?
Don't blame him. Yeah. Also, it's interesting. I don't know how much of some of these ones that we're going to see. Kevin O'Connell already said we're not going to see Sam Darnold in the game. So,
after everything that happened, I wouldn't put Sam Darnold near grass. Like, put him in glass, like Barbie and Ken. Put him off to the side and just wait to break glass in case of emergency, which is when you're headed to the Giants practice, game. Like, I don't even think he needs to practice week 1. Just like, don't get close. Don't get close to him. Don't look at him. I don't even want you touching his food. I don't want him to get food poisoning. Like, don't come near. Don't sneeze. If you feel sick, stay home. Do not come around the quarterback, because Nick Mullins would have to play 16 games, and we're all going to have to sell these shirts. Like, that's going to be the theme of 2024. But time to move on now. We got to move on to basketball, people. We had a lot of fun with football. Please make sure you guys check out the Minnesota Vikings. It looks like a 3:25 kickoff. So make sure you guys check that out. And then the Vikings game day is, I think, 2:00. And then, of course, we're going to have the postcast, which is immediately following the game. So make sure you go to Locked On Sports Minnesota on YouTube to get the postcast. You'll get all of our takes about the game. We'll talk about if my prediction came right. 100-yard game for Tristan Jackson, maybe a touchdown. So let's make sure we check that out as well. But we do know the Browns have a really good defense, like really good. And I hope none of them play. I hope they just start with the twos right away to help me out with that. But now it's time to jump in this Timberwolves schedule release. Now, if everybody hasn't seen it, clearly it was a younger group of people that put this together because they literally use every meme you could find on social media. I'm going to tell you my favorite one, but take it away, Sam.
Oh, well, we got to talk about that for a second. So people were loving the release video, and I'm an old soul. I'm not super online. I didn't necessarily get it. I didn't always understand what the connection was between the meme and the team that they were referencing. Did it make sense to you guys? Because it didn't always make sense to me. And I know that I'm the old guy, the old soul here.
I think this is the NFL's influence. Because they, did all this crazy stuff with their schedule release videos now, and now like everybody's doing it. Well, maybe not everybody, but now the NBA is getting in on the fun too. They're like, oh yeah, we can do that. We got some creative social people on our teams. Let's do it. So it is interesting that the NBA and NFL now are kind of doing similar things with their schedule releases.
Like Sam, did you know the first guy that did the Atlanta Hawks one? Did you understand that one?
Can you remind me what it was?
It's just a dude sitting behind a red table. He has blonde hair. He flips the table when the guy walks in.
Okay. And what did it have to do with the Hawks? Were the memes supposed to line up with the teams?
So Drewski does like a bunch of skits, and a lot of his stuff is shot in Atlanta. So it's a guy named Drewski. He's like internet famous. He's a fake rapper, but comedian. And that's one of his things. Like he went to Atlanta and did this thing and he had like a fake, I don't know if it's real or fake. I don't know what's going on now in America and the world with internet, but it's supposed to be a casting call. And he had all these people on his like show. It's supposed to be a reality show that like streamed. It's like a streaming thing. He went on, I don't know what you even stream on Twitch or whatever. I didn't even watch it. I've been seeing clips of it. And that was one of them. The dude comes in and right away he's pissed off at this guy, and he's like a rapper from Atlanta or something. The dude is horrible. So they were trying to make fun of that. Like it basically, Sam, it's a lot of deep meaning to some of these that you got to know the origin story of it to understand.
I think so. I think so. Like some of them were very
But you knew
clear.
Muggsy Bogues though, right? You knew that was Muggsy Bogues.
Yeah, I knew that was Muggsy. Like, I mean, for the Magic, there's a magician struggling on stage. That made sense to me.
And Miami Heat was DJ Khaled.
Shaq, DJ Khaled, belly flopping. That made sense to me. Some of them didn't make sense to me. But the schedule itself, pretty compelling. 25 national TV games, 18 on ESPN and TNT. So in the final year, maybe of Inside the NBA, we're going to get a big dose of Shaq and Chuck talking about our Timberwolves. A couple of things I'm circling. You've got a key road trip right before the end of the season, April 1st through 10th, like right before the end of the season. You're going on the road for 5. That's going to be big. And assuming that you're vying for the 1 seed with the Thunder, there's a stretch before and after the All-Star break, February 13th through 21st, where you play the Thunder 3 out of 4 games. And that's a weird time on the NBA calendar because going into the All-Star break, guys are banged up. Maybe they're looking ahead to vacation. Maybe they're not totally locked in. Coming out of the All-Star break, you might have some rust from that vacation. So just a weird time of year where they have to play maybe the best team in the West 3 out of 4 games. That's going to be very interesting. And then 14 back-to-backs. How are they going to handle that? How are they going to handle load management this year? Last year, they were 8-5 in back-to-backs for reference. But those are always pretty key when the schedule comes out to see how many of those you have. I don't want to steal all the takes, though, so I'll stop right there on my schedule bullet points.
Julia, what you got on the schedule release? Did you understand? Because you're more in that age range.
I did. I just thought it was way too long. Like 3.5 minutes of like memes. Some of them I didn't understand though. I didn't get the whole thing. A lot of them
I will say like you are right in that though, Sam. Sorry, but Julia, yes, I agree too. Like there are some like the Sacramento Kings one, like but some of them have deep meaning. So like I don't know if you guys know Tyla. She does, or Twyla, I don't even know how you say her name. She does that song where all the girls are doing the TikTok to it now, but she was on the stream with Kai Sinnott, and he tried to date her, and she said, "But we're friends though." So she curved him. So they're trying to say like the Thunder think we're like better than we are. We're just friends. So that was like a
Hmm.
deep joke. Yeah, like they're
It's
trying
like
to say
a
like
little snippet to try and understand that.
yeah, like I had to like honestly not gonna lie, I had to Google like Tyler, then I had to go through the stuff and like kind of look at the other stuff. I knew who she was, but I was trying to figure. I'm like, where are they going with this one? But yeah, it was the Friends thing because then Kevin Hart blows it up later, and he tells like the guy says something to Kevin Hart, and he's like, "But we're friends though." So people start really like picking on because he really was trying to throw game at her. He thought he had a chance, and she hit him with the "we're friends." So they're saying the Thunder, think that they're in the same category, but we're just, we're not as close as you think we are. We're just friends, So there's I had to Google some of them. Yeah, it is long. I thought they could have made it a little bit quicker, but. Yeah, what do you think, Julia? What else you got?
I think that the national TV showing is the most telling thing to me right now. We talked so much last year about how the Wolves for a long time were the best team in the league, and they still were not getting recognition. All that anybody wanted to talk about was Bronny James and LeBron, and that was it on national television. Meanwhile, the Wolves were they were having the best season they'd ever had before. So I think it's just very telling that they have so many nationally televised games this year, and I think that it's well deserved. And I think that it's nice to finally see a Minnesota team get that recognition. I mean, you make it to the Western Conference Finals, you better get some recognition.
Mhm.
But I think it was like too late that they started, like the national television team started to get on the Wolves train. And now I think it's going to be just like all around a really great thing for this team to get that kind of recognition and get that kind of exposure this year. So that's the main thing that stuck out to me. And I was going to be like shocked if they didn't get something like that. But what did you say, Sam? 20 games or something? 25 games or something?
25 national TV.
Yeah. So that's just like, I don't know if they've ever gotten that many before. I don't think that they have. So, yeah, it's very cool for me, and I think well deserved for a team that did so well last year.
What do you got, Reggie?
Yeah, 25 nationally televised games. I guess it's like 18 on TNT, ESPN, or ABC, and then the rest are NBA TV. But as I was telling the newsroom yesterday, like, yeah, NBA TV, that's still nationally televised. So that is still a lot of exposure, a lot of people watching the Timberwolves next season. And I think it just only builds that hype towards the opening night and towards the season. And so I think what the Wolves have done with their Western Conference Finals run is they have put the league, they've put, the national audience on notice, and more people want to see the Timberwolves. I think as long as Anthony Edwards is there, they're going to continue to have a lot more national attention, especially coming off his gold medal win, and him just continuing to kind of ascend into that superstar status, coming off his all-star game as well. Like those, the Timberwolves are doing this. And so, what you hope is that they will continue to do the necessary things to keep the team as competitive as possible to compete for championships. And I think that them having Anthony Edwards there is going to continue to propel them towards that direction. So don't want to see them do kind of like what the Twins did and just decide like, you know what, we're good enough. Let's slash the payroll a little bit. So I think you build all this hype and you got to pay it off. Like you gotta make sure that what they see on the court matches the hype that has been built. But it is exciting if you're a Wolves fan to be a fan right now, because they have now garnered the respect and attention of national, not only viewing audience, but really the national media as well.
Well, let me give some love to the social media team. So I'm just going off of the comments from this. Some people are praising them. Some people are saying too long. Some people say they need a raise. Somebody says 25 national TV games. I can't believe this is my life. Somebody said, nah, that we friends though is wild. See, so that's the one a lot of people, like the younger people, because they watch the whole stream and they get how she got curved, or how she curved him. A lot of people are saying December 22nd. Some people said Chuck the Churros is killing me. Kai Sinnott. Can't believe they did this many Wolves games. They have to get Kai in this building now. Y'all cook with this one, not gonna lie. Yeah, so people are like 82-0 coming. Okay, you went too far. So I mean, 82-0 loading. All right, y'all are going way too
In
far.
the Shannon Sharp food one.
Yeah, so that one somebody said too. They could have done that with a few of them, like the balloon pop one could have been like a bunch of teams getting their balloons popped of teams that are not good.
The Hawks had just one video with just balloons being popped, and it was hilarious.
Is that their schedule release?
I watch that show all the time.
The balloon pop?
Yes.
Yeah, they had people like representing like different teams coming through. Like there was like a Philadelphia 76ers. The joke with the Heat was that they didn't come. They were like, oh, we might see them in the second half. Kind of going back to Chet's comments and all that. Yeah, it was. Yeah, watch that one. It was hilarious.
I've never watched that fully through, so I never watched that fully through. Clearly, Julia has. I just always see the Instagram like videos of the funny ones. Like one dude walks in. He's like 5. Well, dude was like 5'4", and everybody popped it right away except for one girl, and then she handed it to somebody else to pop her. And then he's like, "What? Because I'm not tall enough?" And she was like, "Dude, she's like, I'm 5'8". You're 5'4". He's like, "But we're the same. We're laying down." So so I get that one, but like a lot of people, but I'm guessing they couldn't do that because now it makes sense. Reggie said the Atlanta Hawks, or who was that? Atlanta Hawks? You said did that? Yeah, so they already used it. So the Timberwolves probably like, well, we can't use that because that's another way to get a bunch of teams done. But yeah, the Shannon Sharp eating a meal. He's eating every team that's not as good as they think they are. Not in nationally televised games. We're just going to consume a bunch of games. I get it. Like it's a lot. But yeah, some of the other ones, a couple of the middle ones were super weird. But I like the Jazz one. Anthony Edwards dunking on the Utah Jazz. That's probably the best one. But we got to move on to the Twins Lynx. I'm actually going to the Lynx game on Friday. A friend of ours is coming to town, and she has a suite. So she invited our girls, and so we're like, sure, why not go on a Friday night to watch the Aces? Because you get Kelsey Plum. Hopefully Darren Waller's not in the building. You get Asia Wilson. You get one of the what? I mean, you never know with Darren Waller right now. He just made another diss track. So, I mean, you don't know what's going to happen with him. Like the Aaron Hernandez show comes out on Hulu. I'm watching that, by the way, and I'm pretty sure people are going to be pissed off with how they're portraying him, but it looked really like Tony Montana-ish. I don't know if you guys saw those previews, but we'll do all that much more after a break. But hold on, I want everybody to know SiriusXM is a proud partner of Locked On Sports Minnesota. You can go to SiriusXM, download the SXM app on whatever app market you use. Make sure you use SXM, and once you download the app, it's linked into your account. Now you can search Locked On Sports Minnesota. You can get all of our shows, all of our content right there on your phone when you're on the go. It even works on airplane if you hit download. You can download one of the shows if you haven't caught up on the Vikings anything. You can throw it on a plane, throw your head back, put your glasses on, and just act like you're asleep, but you're getting some content. But make sure you get that on the SXM app, and we'll be back after a short pause. Now we got to talk about this inside track to the playoffs. Twins, Lynx, Reggie, take it away.
Yeah, so the question is who has a better chance at a championship as they make their playoff push right now?
Not the Twins. Oh, sorry.
Or the Lynx. And yeah, definitely. And I think it makes it easier to say this because of the attrition. Byron Buxton just hit the 10-day injury list again.
Oh my
God. You got Joe Ryan on the injury list, Carlos Correa. I was asking the sports office last night. I was like, when is he coming back? Like, what's going on? And why does he keep having these plantar fascia injuries that he's dealing with every year? Like, that's super annoying, I'm sure, for him. But that's really tough. And they've, credit to the Twins, they continue to find ways to win these games. Like last night, they won on a sac fly that was like the game winner, which, however you got to do it to keep stacking these wins, because Cleveland just continues to win baseball games, and it just continues to blow my mind because they're not the flashiest team that you've seen. They just string hits together, and the pitching is solid, and they win these games. So I think if you look at the Twins and the Lynx right now, the Lynx have really been rolling all season. They lost 2 of 3 before the break. And, last night I didn't think that they should have been that close with the Mystics last night, but they turned it on in the fourth quarter. Courtney Williams got hot, Fee got hot, and they put them away, and they were doing the electric slide after the game, which is my favorite part. But Yeah, I think the Lynx have a better shot. I mean, you got Fee and Cheryl coming off of this Olympic gold, and the momentum is rolling there. Fee said they were a little rusty last night coming off a 3-week break, but I think they have what it takes to put it all together to make a run at a championship, because the Twins, I just don't know if I can trust it because of all the injuries that they faced and the inconsistency that we've seen from them this year.
Sam, what you got?
Yeah, my belief in the Twins is conditional, similar to what Reggie said. I actually like the Twins when healthy. If they get Joe Ryan back, Buxton, Correa, Lee, and I think it's possible they do, there really aren't a lot of heavyweights in baseball this year. The top teams are all somewhat flawed. The Twins are not that far off from having the best record in baseball. They're 4 wins shy of Baltimore, New York, 3 wins shy of the Phillies, 3 wins shy of the Dodgers. I mean, they are close to the top, which is wild to say, but the heavyweights aren't really playing that well. Maybe they're saving it for the postseason, but baseball is a get hot at the right time, win a World Series kind of sport. Texas did it last year. They were not the best regular season team. They won a World Series. I think the WNBA, well, I think the Lynx are better than the Twins. I also think the WNBA is more top heavy. The Liberty are rolling. Connecticut is great. The Aces could, but is it 3-peat now or 4-peat? I mean, they've won a couple in a row. Asia Wilson is legit, and Seattle's very good. Like, I think the top 5 in the WNBA are all phenomenal basketball teams, and it's just going to be a tough road for the Lynx to get there. I think baseball, you could maybe get a little more lucky or get hot at the right time and do it. But again, health is everything for these Twins. Got to get your lineup back together.
For me, I always got to have faith in Cheryl Reeve. I am going to stick with the ladies on this one. I think the confidence that the Lynx have, just from talking to them yesterday, and just the chemistry, the mature chemistry that they've had all season. And I think that they're just going to hop right back into it once they finish out this final stretch. I think they understand the road ahead. No one understands the competitiveness of the WNBA like Cheryl Reeve does, and no one's really conquered it like how she has. I think she has all of the tools and the weapons necessary to make a deep playoff run. And yeah, I'm going to go Lynx on this one. I think that they've given us the strongest argument for a deep playoff run and potential championship. I think when it comes to the Twins, like Reggie said, the inconsistency of the season, which is a long season, right? But the inconsistency of them and just the fact that it's been like so similar to last season or the season before and things like that. I just have to go with the Lynx on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Lynx too. I just feel like the Twins. Yeah, I don't know. It's just way too much going on in baseball for me. There's a lot going on in baseball for me. It takes a lot to get to a championship in baseball, or even like get into the playoffs right now, and then actually win a first round series. Whereas with the Lynx, they've done it in the past. They do have some players. I'm excited about Friday's game. One, my 9-year-old will get to see professional women's basketball players play. Get a chance to see how fast the game goes. She can learn something because this is going to be her first 4th grade year. Travel starts in 4th grade, so this will be her first year of travel basketball. So excited for her to be able to see it. But then also you got Kelsey Plum, you got Asia Wilson, you got 2 of the best players in the league coming off of I don't know. And again, I don't know if they'll play because I know they just came off of the Paris deal. So we'll see if they, are on whatever it's called, load management or rest. I hope not, because that's the whole point of going. I want to see the best of the best. But I'm excited to see this. But I just think the Lynx, when you think about them, if they do well against the Aces, and again, if they don't have all their players, can you really say it? But if they do well against the Aces with all their players, it even shows how much of a better team than they are that we think. And so I'm excited to see that. But yeah, I don't know. Reggie named all the injuries and all the stuff happening. That's like, if you can't stay healthy, it's hard to win like down the stretch. And so I feel like the Twins, I don't know if it's Minnesota's water or what, but the Twins and the Vikings both are just coming up lame and limp, and legs are falling apart. Like what is going on? So I got to go with the Lynx on this one too. I'm with Julie on that. But I got, before we get out of here, people, I want everybody to know, make sure you subscribe on YouTube to the Locked On Sports Minnesota YouTube channel. I'm Ron Johnson. That's Sam Mextrom. That's Reggie Wilson. That's Julie Danes. I want to thank you guys for joining us today. And hopefully you guys have a great weekend and the Vikings can come away with a win. Have a great one.